you a smoker? If you are, come here for just a minute. Don't be offended. I'm here to help you. Did you know that nicotine causes your blood vessels to constrict or narrow, which limits the amount of blood that flows to your organs and your extremities? Over time, the constant constriction results in blood vessels that are stiff and less elastic, and constricted blood vessels decrease the amount of oxygen and nutrients that your cells receive. And maybe you already know that. I already knew that, but things don't really matter to us until they affect us personally, right? Until something shows up in our body, or until we feel emotionally about something, about information. It's just kind of like facts or, noise, ambient information that doesn't feel personal to us. And I went to the podiatrist today because I have been struggling with this painful foot disorder for some years now, and I thought that they were plantar warts for a long time. And I went to this awesome lady, and she was like, this is not herpes simplex virus on your feet. And I was like, well, what is it? And she said, I have these hard circular spots on the bottoms of both of my feet that were exacerbated after giving birth 4 times in 6 years, this pressure on my feet. And she said, well, were you ever a smoker? And I said, yeah, I smoked for 20 years. She goes, well, when did you quit? And I said, 4 years ago. And she said, well, this is what's happened. The ergonomics of your feet and the points at which they make contact with the ground as you walk have certain pressure points, right? Where the peaks of your toes and the balls of your feet and your heels, where they hit the ground first, and where weight is carried in your body. And because you smoked for so long, you've constricted blood flow and oxygen and circulation at these points. And so it's created this is gross, but hang on, if you like this sort of thing, dead skin material. And she was like, you have baby hematomas on each of these points, which is pooled blood, right? That's not flowing, that's stagnant. And I was like, ugh, really? And while it was not cool to hear any of that, it was also really exhilarating to learn that my lifestyle choices had in fact shown up in my body, and I hadn't acknowledged it. I dismissed it as something else, or I made it up to be something else. But this really feels like truth to me, that this is the situation. And so why I'm sharing this with you is because if you have a lifestyle choice or an addiction like smoking, maybe it has or it hasn't shown up in your body yet. Maybe it has or it hasn't affected you emotionally. But more likely than not, if you've been smoking for a while, is that it has, and that you haven't made that connection yet. But when you do make that connection, it makes it so much more personal and personable and important to make that change as soon as possible, to remedy that habit that is probably really old and is no longer serving you or helping you in the way that it once did. For me, at the tail end of my smoking career, it wasn't even that pleasurable or enjoyable so much anymore. It was more I was just doing it because I was playing these outdated tapes in my mind about why I needed it and why it was important to me and why I liked it. But those are really types of fabrications that our mind clings onto, and we repeat them to ourselves, which then they become just deeply embedded belief structures. But those are really malleable and flexible, and I've achieved this personally with hypnosis, and I love helping people to remedy their maladaptive habits or their outgrown habits. If you want to quit smoking, reach out to me for a free consultation. If you don't want to quit smoking, please just take seed of what I'm sharing with you, is that your body is probably expressing some version of, no, I don't want this anymore, in the form of physical malady, illness, discomfort, emotional distress, things that are showing up for you that you cite as being uncomfortable, distressing, or even torturous. Really try to look at what it is that you're doing, because there's most likely a correlation between the two. But when you can own that, it really gives you a lot of power and agency over making change, because at that point, then you've made it personal to you and you've made it important.